Hello, this is MattiAce, and I'm back with part 2 in my 3-part series where I'm comparing the 3 ESFs. If you missed part 1 where I cover the site, then the link will be in the description, and that's also where I explain what parts of the ESFs I'm actually testing, which only includes the playstyles that I'm using. Now, the most obvious things about the Reaver that makes it stronger than the other 2 ESFs, or its strengths, I would say. I'm not saying the Reaver is the stronger one, but its strength is in its fast time to kill at close range. Now, what adds to that is that it has the strongest afterburner, which allows it to quickly close in the gap against its opponent if it chooses to do so, and this makes the Reaver very popular for pilots who likes to surprise attack their opponents. This is also called ganking or jumping your opponent. There are also quite a lot of pilots that will rush at their opponents when they are having a 1 versus 1 duel or in any air-to-air combat situation. Unfortunately, this is not something I can cover because I don't know this technique very well myself. Anyway, I've been spending some time with the Reaver the last couple of days, and I gotta say switching between the ESFs is kinda throwing me off a bit. And also found to make this video about the Reaver is a lot harder than to make the video about the site, because the strength of the site suits my playstyle more than the strengths of the Reaver. One of the things that people like about the Reaver is the power of the Vortex Rotary. It is the most powerful air-to-air guns out of the 3, up until at least 150 meters. On a side note here, I also found it quite interesting to see the difference between the M18 Rotary and the Hailstorm. Notice how the Hailstorm is going to put the Galaxy on fire before the M18 Rotary, but it needs to reload to finish it off, and the M18 Rotary will kill the Galaxy with the same magazine that puts the Galaxy on fire. So depending on the hit point pool, the sight will sometimes kill its opponent faster, and the Mosquito will sometimes kill faster. I'm sure this can of course be calculated mathematically. I haven't done that, but my test shows a very similar damage output of the M18 Rotary and the Hailstorm, at least over time. Let me see if I can hit it. I'll probably miss it though.
So bad. Ah shit, I missed a Sandy and I killed 4 infantry guys instead.
Oh shit. Yeah, me and Hot and Spicy, we were trying to test the rocket pods of the Reaver against the deployed Sunderer, but we missed it, and instead we accidentally hit some infantry players next to it. Oh, that is definitely an alt. Now, my experience with using the rocket pods with the Reaver are a bit mixed. I have to say that the rocket pods themselves are fantastic. They deal a lot of damage, and they're very strong against any targets that the rocket pods are at all useful for. But the drawback is that the Reaver is the one ESF that favors the most, or that benefits the most from its strong afterburners, leaving it quite vulnerable without it. First of all, the rocket pods of the 3 ESFs are not that far from each other themselves. Given the right situation and in the hands of an experienced pilot, you will do really well with all 3 rocket pods, and given the wrong situations, no rocket pods are gonna save you from certain instant death. I kinda have to repeat what I said about the site's rocket pods though. The one thing that favors the Reaver's rocket pods is that you're never gonna have to use it against a Vanguard, because it is very clear to me as an experienced pilot that the Vanguard is the hardest main battle tank to kill. The problem with using the rocket pods though is that you might be tempted to use them over areas where there are a lot of flak.
You know what I hate?
Me?
When I'm taking a shit and the water hits my ass.
Eddie Murphy.
Fucking Matti, spoiler.
Yeah, but fucking...
So now one of the things that I might want to try to cover later, I haven't gotten to it yet, is how well the 3 ESFs do against Liberators. Because Liberators are actually a major part of the air combat, and it can have some very decisive roles in air-to-air combat situations, especially when there is a lot going on in the air. First of all, I want to say that my tests of Reaver versus Liberators are very limited, but the one thing I found with the or the few tests I've done is that I do a lot better with the Reaver than I do with the other 2 ESFs, but I'm gonna have to follow this up before I can draw any conclusions. However, My experience with being a Liberator gunner contradicts this completely, as I have found that the Reavers are the easiest ones to hit, and this goes both for when I'm using the Dalton and when I'm using the Shredder. Not sure about the ESF though, which is a bit underestimated in air-to-air combat, I have to say. Now, the few times when I've actually done some duels with Liberators, I have been using the afterburners rather than the rocket pods, and I have been able to dodge better due to the stronger vertical thrust of the Reaver and its afterburner, of course. And I also kill the Liberator faster because of the Vortex rotary. Now, why I find it easier to hit the Reaver as a Liberator gunner, I can only assume the biggest factor is because of the shape of the Reaver, which is actually a big topic in the balance discussions between the three ESFs. The Reaver is, it has no angle from where it has a small hitbox, unlike the other two ESFs. And basically, as much as it kills faster than the other two ESFs, it will also be killed faster than the other two ESFs in a lot of situations.
Step it up.
So now, before I made this video, I did a bit of dueling on the test server with a few pilots. I also had a bit of a talk with some of the pilots of Prey, and this is an air outfit on the NC side on Waterson. This is where our guitar is a member or a leader, and I'm pretty sure if you have been following my channel you know who this is. He's one of the Reaver pilots that I have been dueling the most, actually. And we've been talking a little bit about the Reaver strengths and weaknesses and stuff to point out for this video. This has been very helpful, so big thanks to Prey. I have also been dueling quite a bit of pilots from a variety of servers, and from time to time I do really well with the Reaver. Doesn't eat small children.
That's a good thing, I guess.
I guess that's a good thing, but it makes me think that he actually does secretly eat small children when nobody's watching.
Or then he eats bigger children.
Yeah, maybe that's what he does. You back?
Yeah. That tournament is getting some... Why is there so many ESF pilots?
Yeah.
So next Sunday should it be you on a Reaver and I'm on a MattiAce?
I don't know, I don't care.
Let's go get
It's only gonna be a show match, so...
Yeah.
So yeah, me and Becky are planning on showing up for the tournament this weekend, the 8th, and we are planning on going there with a MattiAce and a Reaver, and hope to see you all. And this is going to be on the test server, and of course we will not be attending the competition. No, you were not allowed to fly.
No, not at that area, but you could be somewhere else and just practice. No! Holy shit.
Yeah. So as you can see, it is possible to beat Becky in a 1 versus 1. I wouldn't say it's something you should expect to get used to, but it is possible. Now when you're in Reaver and you do any of these dodging maneuvers that are commonly known as the reverse maneuver, these types of vertical thrust use in hover fights like this, you will gain more momentum than you will gain in any other ESF, and you need to use this to your advantage, because this forces your opponent to lead more on you, and this is of course meant to make it harder for them to hit you. If you don't do this, and you just hover, or if you make yourself an easy target, you are going to be the easiest target of the three, being that you are a bigger hitbox. One of the things that is really complicated in air-to-air combat situations like this is to control the distance you have to your opponent. We've done it like thousands of times, and the things that happen is that sometimes we get really close, sometimes we get really far from each other, but it is really hard to control that. And anything that has to do with widening the gap or closing the gap is a very risky maneuver. There are of course those pilots that I was talking about earlier that are really good at rushing your opponent, and I am going to try to cover that part of piloting as soon as I can, but I'm probably just going to show you what it's like to be rushed, not to be the one rushing, because that really isn't something I do. Now me, and possibly also Beku, we're planning on showing up on the tournament on Sunday, the 8th of December, and if you want to try to fight us with a sight when we are in a non-sight Reaver or a Mozzie, then we will try to make that happen. Well, at least me. So it's quite common knowledge by now that it is hard to hit a sight from a Mozzie and a Reaver, and hopefully these two fights might help you a little bit to find your lead on a sight for you guys who are Reaver pilots. And I'm not sure if these are typical situations from your point of view, but yeah, if this helps, then I'm glad to have helped. And that's gonna be all for this video, so thank you all for watching, and bye for now. Fighting Air Force.
I just won.